Always beating, enthusing, never cheesing or choosing. 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 Homestar! Beating, enthusing, never cheesing or choosing. Always beating, enthusing, never cheesing or choosing. Always beating, enthusing, never cheesing or choosing. Always beating, enthusing, never cheesing.
Hey everybody, welcome to a special mini Halloween episode of The Stick. I am your host David.
And I am your host Eden.
And welcome to what I think we're going to try to do every year, which is go through one of the Homestar Runner Halloween cartoons, starting with the first one, which was Homestarloween Party.
Yeah, I was rewatching through this one yesterday, and one of the things I realized is, though I've definitely, and I think you mentioned this too before we started recording, seen this numerous times, I don't think I've watched this one in like years now, like actually been through it.
Yeah, I think that's the same for me. The big thing that I kind of flashed back to when I watched it again earlier was that when I realized I had the same toy keyboard that the Brothers Chaps used to make the music for this one, I figured out how to play the song during the opening credits on that keyboard, and I was very proud of myself. I think I was like 14 at the time.
Well, that is pretty cool, though. I mean, that's the song they use in like a bunch of Halloween episodes for a while.
It's like, very similar, at least. Yeah.
Apparently, at the very least, they use it for The House That Gave Sucky Treats, and that little one, like according to the wiki, apparently they also do it during the Strong Sad Gets Decked Repeatedly Halloween Spooktacular.
Yeah. This one is one of the oldest cartoons that I think they left on the site, because it's still got that like really flat, like almost not shaded at all animation style. Homestar still is like big head form Homestar.
Still VCR mouth Homestar.
Yeah. His new mouth still kind of looks like a VCR slot, but maybe it's more like a camcorder tape slot.
Yeah, that's true. A camcorder, maybe one of the old like big floppy disks back before they made the smaller like compact discs.
Yeah, this cartoon I think is the first time that we see a couple of different characters, like side characters. I think this is the first time we see the Goblin, and I think this is the first time we see the Sad Children, and it might be the first time we see the Visor Robot.
I'm going to double check on the Visor Robot, because I think you're right. I know you're right for the Goblin, because that he's a Halloween thing, and I'm pretty sure the Sad Kids are too. But yeah, this is also the first appearance of the Visor Robot.
Yeah, so it's not like a super important cartoon to the canon, I feel like, but a lot was kind of set in place here.
Yeah, they introduced the Goblin's Dance, which I feel is like a pretty important thing to start to set up. But other than that, yeah, it's this is almost 20 years old now. It turns obviously turns 19 on Thursday.
Yeah.
Or actually, they don't know when it came out. It just says date before Tuesday, October 31st, 2000.
Yeah. God, 2000. That was a year.
Yeah, I can't say I have any strong memories of the year 2000, but I can imagine.
I mostly remember having one of the computers in my house reset its internal clock to January 1st, 1980.
Oh, so you guys had a very, very limited experience with the Y2K virus.
Yeah, it wasn't so much a virus as just computers weren't, for a while, able to understand dates after 1999. So, yeah, this is the first time we see the whole cast in their pop culture reference costumes.
Yeah, we have Gorbachev Strong Sad, who is...
Yeah.
And also a considerably more depressing Strong Sad than you get in later tunes in this one.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. He's definitely like the most depressing I think I ever saw him on the website. But at the same time, his addition to the Halloween story that they're telling is probably the closest to like any modern scary movie that would come out these days.
Yeah, I was gonna say when I was listening to his addition to the story, it was like, obviously, it's not going to be too much because it's within the context of a comedy cartoon, but it was genuinely a little bit like actually sad.
Yeah.
When I was listening, I was like, I would watch a movie or read a short story that was told from like more seriously, that used the general sort of plot that Strong Sad describes in this episode. Like, I would actually do that. It sounds pretty good.
Yeah, what was the previous movie by the director of Midsommar? It kind of reminded me of the plot of that movie.
Hereditary, I think.
Hereditary?
Yeah, I think that was him.
Yeah, I think it was Hereditary.
Yeah, I just Googled it. Yeah, it was Hereditary. That was Ari Aster, right?
Yeah.
Then yes, that was, because he did Midsommar, but the year previous he had done Hereditary there. But yeah, this episode...
Yep, just a big old sad story about kids dying.
Yeah, it's true though. It's definitely did Strong Sad predict late 2010s horror movies in this episode? Is Homestar Runner predictive programming?
Strong Sad is definitely a film auteur, I think.
Yeah, he's this is the Homestar version of that time The Simpsons did a drawing of Trump that kind of looked like a real world thing that Trump did. That's this episode.
Yeah. The Simpsons did predict that the Orange Man himself would be president.
I wonder, I have to go combing through Homestar Runner now for references to Donald Trump or other current political figures to see if they've done any predictions that I can bring up on an episode later.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say one of the things that I thought was kind of funny, and you mentioned this in the Discord, so I decided to look into him, is this is an episode, it's old enough that it includes original Homestar Runner storybook writer Craig Zobel as one of the writing credits.
Yeah.
And I thought like, I wonder what Craig Zobel's doing now. It's probably nothing. But it turns out the actual answer is writing, directing, and producing several critically acclaimed movies and directing episodes of Westworld.
Yep.
So just doing pretty well for himself.
Yeah, he also did at least one episode of American Gods, I think.
Yeah, he did American Gods, The Leftovers, Westworld, and $1.
Yeah.
As well as a movie called A Great World of Sound and Z for Zachariah, both of which did like incredibly well on Rotten Tomatoes and have like extremely good reviews.
Yeah, so really everyone involved in this website made out pretty well for themselves.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, because the best part is the Homestar Runner website only lists him as a friend of the Brothers Chaps and a shareholder in HomestarRunner.com.
Yeah.
But then, like, his actual Wikipedia page is like, he's a director who grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and he has like an extremely series of critically successful, series of extremely successful films and TV show episodes under his belt. And also he did that movie The Hunt that got canceled by Universal because of the El Paso shooting.
Oh yeah. Man,
yeah.
He's done a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I was surprised, like, as a movie the movie had like Emma Roberts and Hilary Swank in it, so like he's working with pretty big name actresses, so
yeah.
I'm genuinely impressed by the current career prospects of Craig Zobel.
Yeah.
Co-writer of Homestarloween Party. Also,
yeah, and the Strongest Man in the World contest.
Oh, that's right. He did. Do you think he wrote the scene in the Strongest Man in the World contest where Homestar has to go to the bathroom really bad?
That was in Jumping Jack contest.
Oh, that's right. That was in Jumping Jack contest. I always get those two confused. Did Craig Zobel write Jumping Jack contest?
Maybe. That was around this time. I think that was like maybe a couple months before this even.
Oh, no, the only two that he contributed to: Homestarloween Party, a Jumping Jack contest, and Where's the Cheat? Oh, yeah, no, he was listed as the co-creator of Homestar on a Jumping Jack contest, but he doesn't say that he contributed anything.
Okay, so they were still crediting him just kind of out of respect for the fact that he helped write the original kids book. Yeah,
he doesn't come up anywhere on here. But anyways, that's the Craig Zobel corner. I just wanted to sort of bring that up because I thought it was funny to discover that he's actually a relatively successful film director after all this.
Yeah.
Good for you, Craig.
A number of Flash animators are kind of finding jobs in TV and movies these days, and it's kind of interesting to see. The plot of this, if you want to call it a plot of this cartoon, is that they're at a Halloween party and they decide to do that improv game of passing the flashlight around in a circle to tell a ghost story, and none of them are especially good at it, it turns out.
No, it's kind of a prototype version of The Day Mr. Poofers Died, or whatever that later, the more recent Halloween special was called.
Yeah, that is that. Now that you say that, that is a pretty similar cartoon to this in just kind of structure, but yeah, the humor was definitely a lot more evolved by then.
Yeah, in this one, it's mostly just bad storytelling. Although I will say there is one that does make me laugh, is still when Homestar tells his opening part where he just goes, he used to look around in a spooky voice. It still kind of makes me giggle when I watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, although I will admit, like, off top, that this probably isn't the funniest episode of Homestar that's around.
No. The characters really were only kind of there at this point. Like, you only get a couple of seconds of each one. You get the fact that Homestar is dumb and doesn't know what to say. Strong Bad likes to talk about people getting voiped by robots and stuff like that. Bubs likes to talk about how the goblin is a gearhead.
Yeah, I will admit that part does make me laugh a little bit.
Yeah.
He just starts describing all the different parts that he puts on a big truck.
Yeah.
Or what also like I will also like that when Marzipan takes the three girls that Pom Pom says that the goblin has and makes one of them into a Republican.
Yeah. And she starts holding an elephant sign.
Yeah, she gives two of them pets and makes one of them a Republican.
Yeah. The King of Town obviously likes food in this one. Fried fish and heavenly ham and Salisbury Sundaes. That's one we didn't get into on the food episode, was Salisbury Sundaes. And I don't know what that is, but it sounds bad.
Yeah, it definitely sort of occupies the middle ground between eating deodorant in that one episode and his more normal food tastes. Because at least it's all food, but it sounds gross.
Yeah, I feel like if I ate a Salisbury Sundae, I would puke my pants.
Yeah, and then Strong Sad at the very end tells an extremely sad story about how the robot has a brain that was stolen from a kindly old man, and then he saw his children looking for their father, and then it cries and short circuits and kills all of them.
And none of them lived.
And he is banned from coming to Homestar's next party, and that's really it in terms of plot. There's not really a lot there.
Yeah, the costumes, I think, are really the interesting part of this.
Yeah, I definitely feel like they made the costumes first and then worked backwards in terms of like what they were going to do for this episode.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Homestar...
So just going down the list, the King of Town is dressed as Cap'n Crunch, which I think makes sense because he looks a lot like Cap'n Crunch already. Yeah,
that's true. That is true. So, just off to the side quickly, is the list of who's dressed as who actually on the website, or like on?
Yeah, they made a separate page for it. You can click on See Homestarloween Party costumes at the top.
Okay, I totally scrolled past that and didn't notice it. I am there now. Okay, yeah, he's Captain Crunch. Coach Z is Flava Flav from Public Enemy.
Yeah, God, during this website being popular, I think, like, at least the middle years of it, I think, was when Flavor of Love was on TV, and so that was my introduction to Flavor Flav as a person. Because I didn't listen to Public Enemy as a preteen.
No, neither did I. I mean, I knew what's that. I knew the one song. I feel bad that I can't remember the name right now, but Fight the Power.
The Noise?
I knew Fight the
Power
because my dad had that on a workout playlist that he shared with me when I was a teen. But other than that, I wouldn't have known who Flava Flav was probably until honestly much later than even Flavor of Love.
Yeah, So this starts the whole trend of Coach Z dressing as rappers from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, I like that in one of the recent ones, they call attention to that they're running out of like visually distinctive rappers from the 80s and 90s for him to dress up as. He dresses up as Kwame, I think, and they're just, he's just being asked, like, do you know anything about Kwame? Except that he has a high top fade, and he's like, and the only thing he knows is that his name is Kwame.
I'm relatively certain that my name is Kwame.
Yeah, and they've also included a sort of a mini thanks HR Wiki diversion here. They've included that his clock reads 3:57. So
yeah, just no reason for them to include that. They just decided to do that. I don't know. Did Flavor Flav have a time that he always set his clock to? I don't
think so, but it was always set to rapping time. I don't know. No, I don't think he did. I'm pretty sure it was just like, big ostentatious jewelry, which was, kind of a thing in hip hop of that era.
Yeah. He set it to morphin time and turned into a triceratops.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go on to the. I know that's a reference to the what we call Power Rangers, but I wanted to go now on to the Wonder Years and just ask them if he was an animorph, what animal he would turn into. I'm gonna send that question in after this show.
Yeah, you should do that.
So
then Bubs is a character called Rerun from the 1970s sitcom What's Happening, which I have never watched, and I don't know anything about this character.
Neither do I. I've learned everything that I know about Freddy Rerun Stubbs from reading this short paragraph on the HR Wiki just now.
Yeah.
And yeah, Homestar is Kurt Cobain from Nirvana, obviously. And he has the Corporate Rock Still Sucks t-shirt on. Which apparently later, and I know that later on, I think either Strong's Bad or it's Strong Sad has a t-shirt that says Corporate Get Up Noise Still Sucks. I think from the email Get Up Noise. But and Strong Bad is Carmen freaking Miranda.
Yeah, the Chiquita Banana Lady. That's great.
And I did not know anything about Carmen Miranda either until just seeing this now, other than like the fact that Strong Bad was her at the Homestarloween Party.
Yeah, there was a lot of like cartoons that like featured references to Carmen Miranda back in like the Looney Tunes days and onward, just because she was like such an iconic figure at the time. Like nobody else was wearing fruit hats.
Oh yeah, I did see.
That's one way to get famous, I guess.
That's true. I did see, the one where Daffy Duck dresses like with that big fruit hat. I didn't know that was a Carmen Miranda thing specifically.
Yeah.
And yeah, apparently she was she really was the inspiration of the Chiquita Banana Lady, according to this anyways. And if I'm not mistaken, the Chiquita Banana Company was the same one that was one of the main companies that was repulsed from Cuba during the Cuban Revolution. Because with a history of just incredibly brutal imperialism and repression across the entire global south. So Strong Bad is canceled for dressing up as the Chiquita Banana Lady is the conclusion of that one.
Yeah, it was them, and then it was Dole who effectively caused Hawaii to be annexed for banana production.
Yeah. Like I said, Strong Bad is canceled for dressing up as the Chiquita Banana Lady.
Yeah, not for anything else he's done.
No, he's never done anything else. That would.
He's always been perfectly. He's been a perfectly good boy his whole life.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever had reason to doubt Strong Bad's integrity.
Strong Mad is Slim Goodbody, who apparently was like a really popular character in the 90s, but I never really knew anything about him, like other than the fact that he was on like some PBS show.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known if you gave me the name who Slim Goodbody was until again just right now. That's he's apparently
he's kind of the he's kind of the like kids show version of that like that Body Worlds exhibit that was out like 15 years ago, where they like the people who like donated their bodies to science got their remains preserved and like put on display for like people to learn about anatomy and stuff.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I can't say I heard about that either. I thought it was going to be like an anatomy themed like theme park or something, where they would like take you through like a water ride tour through different parts of the human body.
There was something like that at the St. Paul, Minnesota Science Museum for a little bit. It wasn't like a water ride, but there was like a whole area of the museum that was dedicated to being like a tour through the human anatomy.
Oh, man, I wish that I lived near St. Paul, Minnesota years ago in the past when that was a thing, because I would have loved to have checked that out, especially like in high school. That would have been sick.
Yeah. Then the cheat, of course, is everyone's favorite lasagna cat.
He is Garfield. Pre-meme, though, I think, for Garfield. Like, before Garfield became, like, an ironically funny thing.
Yeah, the cheat is immune to propaganda right here.
Yes, the cheat is immune to propaganda here. He's also selling me Saudi Arabian lasagna. I'm still never going to get over that.
I saw somebody who drew that like the drunk lady yelling at the cat meme, except it was John Arbuckle yelling at Garfield.
Yeah. Yeah, was actually, you'd remember better than I would. Was Garfield like a thing in like 2000? Like, was that because I remember when I was in grade school, which was a few years after, obviously, having like a bunch of old Garfield comic collections in one of my classes. But like, was Garfield like a thing in 2000s? Was it like a recognizable pop culture figure?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think Jim Davis himself may have even still been drawing the newspaper comics at that point, instead of like having the whole like Paws company do it for him. But yeah, like in the 80s, there was also the show Garfield and Friends, which was a relatively popular Saturday morning cartoon for a little bit. Like, I definitely watched it as a kid. It had a guy named Lorenzo Music as the voice of Garfield.
Oh yeah, he's the guy who they. Yeah, because then they brought in, because he's basically the one who kind of formed the base of like what Garfield sounds like. Because even when they had
like, talking like he's always tired and hates Mondays.
Yeah, because I know when they had when they essentially tricked Bill Murray into doing those two mid-2000s live-action Garfield movies.
Yeah,
he basically just did an impression of Lorenzo Music as his Garfield voice.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure that the main reason that the Brothers Chaps decided Garfield was because of them having watched the cartoon as kids.
Oh yeah, I doubt they were inspired by like the complete dog shit 2000s Garfield movies.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And then we get another 80s character, Mr. Stay Puffed, who is being played by Pom Pom here.
Yeah, this one breaks my streak of not knowing who those people were.
Yeah, I think most people, even if they were like not born at the time, have at least seen some of Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, I mean, and plus the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is one of those like nerd culture products that, you know, appears on stuff, you know, that's gonna be sold to the kind of to be fair, the kind of people who would watch Homestar Runner.
Yeah. This is definitely a Funko Pop character for sure.
Yeah, that's the sort. Yeah, exactly. That was the sort of thing I was thinking of. Was
yeah.
Then we have Marzipan is Genie from I Dream of Genie, which I did know about because my mom loves I Dream of Genie.
Yeah, same. Like, my parents were way into both this show, I Dream of Genie, and Bewitched.
It's funny to me though, like, because my parents were both born in the 70s, so my mom watched I Dream of Genie as like a cultural artifact from before she was born.
Yeah. There was a TV channel, a cable channel called TV Land, which I think existed until like really recently.
Oh yeah,
and like all they played was like these sitcoms from like the 50s through the 70s.
Oh, yeah, that was always it used to be at like one of my ex's house. Whenever I used to go over there always used to be TV Land kind of playing in the background because their parents would just leave it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely seen TV Land. Was that where, I don't know if you've ever heard of this show, but there was a show called TV with TV's Jonathan Torrens.
Say that again?
TV with TV's Jonathan Torrens.
I've heard of it, but I never saw it.
It was one of the guys from, it was the guy who played J-Rock on, I mean, I'm just realizing this may be, an exclusively Canadian thing, but it was the guy who played J-Rock on the Trailer Park Boys, which that show made its rounds. It wasn't just a Canadian thing. And he was on that, and then later on he did a show about television, and it's actually really funny. And I was just wondering, I couldn't remember if that was like one of TV Land's like few original programs or not, or maybe I'm just misremembering where I saw it.
Yeah.
Anyways, don't want to get too sidetracked on that, but yeah, Marzipan is Genie from I Dream a Genie. Strong Sad is Mikhail Gorbachev, former and final president of the Soviet Union.
Yep.
And
Reagan made him epically tear down the wall.
Yes, and apparently they call his kind of birthmark a port wine stain birthmark, and I had never heard of that before, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
and
there was like some Russian commercial from the 90s that Gorbachev was actually in.
Oh yeah, about how he gave them Pizza Hut.
Yeah, it was a Pizza Hut commercial.
Yeah, where they're all arguing about the future of the Soviet Union, and this old man's going like, he has given us instability, and then this little kid goes, but he has given us Pizza Hut, and then they all laugh and they eat pizza together.
Yeah.
It's
yep.
It's a
so
really...
Gorbachev is definitely a pop culture figure so it makes sense for Strong Sad to have dressed up as him.
Yeah, do you think like it was sort of like an ironic hipster kind of Gorbachev costume, or do you think it was like Strong Sad as a communist? Like, because I can definitely
Strong Sad is just like, yeah, I feel like Strong Sad is just like that kind of like, he's like a politics nerd. So like, regardless of his own political beliefs, he just like finds people like Gorbachev really interesting.
That's fair. I mean, a good friend of mine once dressed up as Donald Trump in high school just because it was a weird politics thing that was going on at the time. So,
oh yeah, because he ran for president before.
Oh, no, this was in 2015, but it was like when he had declared, but everyone was like, haha, it is the Donald Trump running for president, and like, yeah, people just assumed that it was like a, maybe 3-month goof.
Yeah.
Anyways,
and it's turned into a much longer goof than that.
Yeah, it is now a 2.5-year goof. Yeah, I should point out at the time there was absolutely no chance that that's going to lead to anything. So it was more of a this is a funny thing costume than anything else. And lastly, the Poopsmith is Tron from Tron.
Yeah, have you seen the original Tron movie?
I have not seen the original Tron movie. I have seen the reboot, and it was not very good.
A friend of mine and myself skipped class one day in college to go watch Tron Legacy, which was a new movie at the time.
Did you enjoy Tron Legacy?
I think it's pretty good for what it is. And even including like the weirdly de-aged Kevin Flynn, the like young CGI Jeff Bridges.
Oh yeah. That was honestly like one of the weirdest things is how like bad that looked. It like because de-aging still looks bad now. Yeah. In like that new Will Smith movie.
But and this was like 2010.
Yeah, it was like 9 years ago trying to do the same thing. I just don't understand what exactly led them to think that would like work out as like as an effect. But yeah, I'd have to rewatch it because it's been a long time since I saw it too. Yeah, I didn't watch it when it came out, obviously, but I'd have to go back and watch it again because I don't really remember. But I remember thinking like, like it wasn't. I didn't think it was very good, but it wasn't like the worst movie I'd ever seen or anything.
Yeah, the original Tron is a lot like it's a lot more like it feels kind of like a 70s sci-fi movie. Where it's like just kind of really slow paced and there's not a whole lot of action at any given point.
Yeah, I'll have to try it out because honestly I don't mind that. Like I like a lot of those movies.
Yeah.
I'll have to give the original.
Yeah, it's really interesting to look at too, because they were like playing with CGI like for some of the first like feature film stuff that it had really ever been used for.
Yeah, I always figured that because kind of before and even a little bit after Star Wars, that's just kind of what sci-fi films were. Is there wasn't a lot of like action sci-fi movies prior to, Star Wars in the mid early 70s there. At least to my knowledge.
No.
Kind of changed.
Yeah, like Logan's Run was considered like the prime example of a sci-fi movie for a while.
Yeah, not exactly the world's most exciting movie that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking.
So yeah, that's all the costumes from Homestarloween Party.
Yeah, there's also what's funny is there's in the real world references section for what do you call the real world references for this, you could almost work out what every single costume is again, because they've just basically included most of what is referenced by characters in it, and you could work out who they were.
Yeah.
And apparently oh, sorry, go ahead.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say that apparently, according to this, Bubs' description of the gremlin is quoted almost directly from Dazed and Confused.
Oh, okay. I'd never actually seen that movie.
Neither have I. That's a weird reference for them to make because it doesn't appear to really add anything to the joke.
I bet it's just because the Brothers Chaps didn't know anything about cars, but they wanted it to sound like Bubs did, so they just like looked up the first like person ranting about car parts that they could find and used that.
Yeah, apparently Wooderson says, "Let me tell you that what that Melba toast is packing right here, all right. We got a 411 Positrack Outback, 750 double pumper, Edelbrook intake, board over 30, 11-to-1 pop-up pistons, turbojet 390 horsepower. We're talking some fucking muscle." So, yeah, it's it's
in this cartoon. In this cartoon, Bubs' voice isn't quite right.
Yeah, because most of the characters, I find you can kind of see where their voices are going. But even this one, Bubs' voice just kind of sounds like he's straining almost.
Yeah, it's like a couple of notes higher than it usually is.
Yeah, honestly, old Bubs' voice is probably like the least pleasant to listen to of all the old voices.
I think so, yeah. Old strong bad voice when he still had a voice that sounds like he swallowed a wrestle mask. That's at least more pleasant to listen to.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit, more problematic, I guess, for lack of a better word, but it's at least not like this weird grating thing. It sounds like he's shredding his throat the whole time he's doing that voice.
Yeah. I'm sure that Matt Chapman didn't have any vocal training at this point. And he probably had to not talk for a couple days after this.
Does he do vocal training and stuff now?
I feel like if you are a voice actor, which Matt Chapman is now, I think for a number of different shows, he was on Gravity Falls and stuff. You have to know how to protect your instrument, so to speak.
Oh yeah, that would make sense for sure. Like how once all those guys from screamo and death metal bands get big, they end up having to go to see voice trainers because that stuff just completely annihilates your vocal cords if you don't do it right.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can definitely see him doing that.
This is kind of a tie-in to my my other podcast, Tuning Fork, because we had an episode recently about the band Japan Droids, who are a arena rock / punk band, and their lead singer Brian King effectively ruined his voice within 2 albums of theirs being released, because he just yelled at everything without any consideration of what it was doing to his voice.
Ah, geez, I think that happened to the. Do you know how Alexis on Fire had 3 lead vocalists at one point?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that happened to the Wade McNeil, the one who wasn't one of the 2 main ones. I'm pretty sure he did the same thing because he has a show now on a radio station around Toronto, and he sounds like he's not in too good condition. when you
Yeah.
hear him talking on there now, like, is a real rasp to it. So yeah, that makes
Yeah, if
sense.
I ever get to the point where I'm like recording podcasts every single day of my life, then I'll probably have to go see somebody about that.
Yeah, so you're like, okay, how do I not have this completely destroy my vocal cords?
Yeah.
Anyways,
So yeah, that's our first Homestar Halloween episode in the tank.
yeah, that's the Homestarloween Party, and tune in next year for the house that gave sucky treats, the second Homestar Halloween episode, which is also a lot more. At that point, they'd basically, in my opinion, basically had the characters pretty much down. So it's a
Yeah.
little bit more,
That one might take a little bit longer because they put in all those like choose your own adventure options for all the different candy that you could give the characters.
Yeah, apparently the episode itself is about 10.5 minutes long if you go through and do every single different option. So that's gonna, definitely take a little bit longer than this one, which is, I think, it's almost 5 minutes. It feels a lot shorter than that when you're watching it.
Yeah, it's short, but it gets its point across.
Yep, it gets its point across that they're not too good at telling scary stories.
Yeah, I feel like the maybe 1,000 people who are watching the website at this point just appreciated seeing the characters dressed up, and that was about it.
Yeah, it's for what it, like, I feel like it's kind of like Tron Legacy. It's good for what it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that'll wrap it up.
All right.
We probably don't need to do our whole outro, but I'm David. You can follow me on Twitter at @Daves.
And I'm Eden. You can follow me on Twitter at @TP_Albuquerque.
All right. And we'll see you next time. No Probalo.
No probalo.